welcome back to Music Sucks and I Want to Die. My name is Jake.
I'm Matt.
And today we don't actually feel like researching or doing any work, so we're going to spend the next 45 minutes to 2 hours ranting about vocalists. And this disclaimer, we're going to be giant fucking assholes this episode. There will be a date later on where we have like a very balanced discussion on what it means to be a vocalist and how difficult it can be and all the challenges that come with like that kind of role. Not today.
I would like to apologize, though, ahead of time.
What do you got?
For all the vocalists that I know and work with.
Yeah, same.
And, you know.
Yeah, this is going to be bad, and we apologize. We probably don't mean you.
Yeah. Definitely don't mean you. Don't worry.
So, yeah, today's going to be basically just one giant rant, fueled by the champagne of beers today.
Good old Miller.
It's so cold and it's so hot in my apartment.
It's very hot in here, and that's probably why we're so angry.
Yeah, probably. Let's get this shit started, shall we?
Take it away, Jake.
Okay.
What do you love about vocalists?
Well, ooh, good question. Starting it right off. I actually hate nothing. No.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, nothing at all. No, it's not that. It's just hard to think of right now when I'm in this giant ranty mood.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah. What about you? What do you love about vocalists?
You know, we're going to rant about vocalists, but I would say they are really important part of music.
Yep.
Actually, like the most important part to a lot of people, especially audience members.
Yes, definitely audience members.
I love working with vocalists as like a concept. Like, I like having them in the group.
Yes. I agree with that. And when a vocalist is really good,
Oh yeah.
and like is not an asshole at the same time, like it can feel really like empowering as an instrumentalist to like be accompanying them or just be on the same band as them.
Yeah, it's you and I do a lot of instrumental music, but it's a whole different thing playing with vocal music. And,
yeah, because people care.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is.
Fucking got him, dude.
Not that we're bitter or jealous
Of vocalists?
at all.
Yeah.
That's not what this episode is coming from.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
This
worry.
rant is purely from the best of intentions, obviously.
Obviously.
So, I guess we should just kind of start at the beginning. When you choose an instrument, it's a long journey ahead of you. But some people don't have to choose an instrument because they choose to sing.
Hey, man. The voice is an instrument.
We're going to talk about that.
You ever have those? You have those girls in like middle school or stuff where the teacher would be like doing icebreakers and she'd be like, "How many people play an instrument?" And a couple people raise their hand, and then some girl would always be like, "Everyone plays one because you can all sing, and the voice is an instrument."
Yeah, that never happened to me.
Oh,
So it makes me very happy because our band and choir teacher was like the same person, and he always thought that because he was like a guitarist, funk guitarist in like the 60s and 70s. So he probably
so he knew.
he knew, dude. He was grinding our grind now. You know what I mean? So
But yes, sorry. Continue.
I don't even remember where I was, dude.
You select an instrument at a young age,
Oh, yes.
usually, and
But some people do not select instruments. Some people choose to sing instead. And the reason behind that is probably, there's many, many reasons. But like one of them that people don't often realize is that singing is often the easiest way to engage with music at the beginning.
I think there's another part to that too. Well, it kind of goes hand in hand, but especially, our generation, but even like way before that, you're a little kid and you have media shoved down your throat, and there's always like the pop stars and the glamorous, like Britney Spears and Christina, Spice Girls, all this shit.
Yeah. This is literally a 90s generation thing.
I know,
right
but
now.
I mean,
it
put
goes
whatever
back,
your
yeah.
appropriate
It goes back,
person
yeah.
is. And almost all of them are women.
Right.
And so you're like a youngin, and it seems that most vocalists are also women.
Yeah.
Turns out. And I think that's like, okay, you're a kid and you're like, that's awesome. I want to be like that. And so you like, messing around and you're like, oh, I'm singing, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like adults just encourage it a lot.
Oh, totally, yeah.
And especially because you're saying it's so easy. It's like, oh, I saw Slash play. I want to play guitar. Well, now I have to go fucking suck in my room for a year.
Yeah, at least. Dude.
But
Like, I fucking, there's parents who have to deal with a first year violin student, dude.
Oh, yeah.
My kid, never playing violin.
No, but if you're like a little kid singing, it's like, oh, he's got the cute little kid voice.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
keep
And it's not
going,
like
and,
inherently offensive like a horrible guitar player is.
Yes,
or a
exactly.
horrible piano
so
is.
I think, like saying, it's easier to engage with. It gets from a young age, especially, and then you have like parents or whatever supporting you, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I think you just kind of like gradually like, yeah, that's what I do. I sing.
That's right. I'm a vocalist. When that line gets drawn, when you become a vocalist, is an interesting one too. That topic is multifold. It has to do. God, this is gonna be. There's a lot of stuff to being a vocalist, good and bad. But today, it's only the bad. So yeah, there's a lot of things. Like you don't have to learn a lot of music theory as a singer. Pretty much none.
Yeah, you really don't.
Yeah, you have to memorize lyrics, which is a thing.
Honestly, I don't know if I could.
I know, dude. Like I do like karaoke, right? And I still have to watch the word. I've sang the same song like at least 50 times.
I feel like my
still
brain
don't
just
remember.
doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And there's all that, so they don't have to like really learn theory. Interestingly enough, they also don't have to bring any gear ever to any show.
Well,
Oh boy.
what about like their outfits?
Oh right, of course. Those are heavy and annoying. Yeah,
Hey, sometimes they have a mic.
that's true. Actually, sometimes I have seen singers with really cool mics, and that's
They're usually really heavy and hard to carry.
oh right, yes, and they are usually very awkward and large and.
But they make up for it because they usually help the band haul gear, right?
Of course,
right,
yeah.
Jake? That happens
Vocalists
all the
totally
time.
help
I
all the
love
time,
it.
every
That's
show.
Every time. They're always out there with the drums, just like
Yeah,
pulling them
yeah,
in.
taking extra trips. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck that, dude. I play keyboards, obviously. When I play live shows, I have lots of gear. And I can count on my hands the amount of times I've been helped by a vocalist still. I actually remember a couple of them
Yeah, me
because it's
too.
so weird.
This many times.
I think I've had a few, mostly like,
Yeah, I've definitely had
somewhat recently.
It's funny too, and we'll talk about this later, I think, more, but a lot of times, especially when you're working for a vocalist and it's like their thing,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, a lot of times they're super specific on like, oh, can you bring this and this and this? And it's like, you're going to pay me more for all
Yeah,
that? You're going to help
yeah.
me carry all that in here?
Do you know what a cartage fee is?
Yeah, like-
can I get some schleppage fee
I
going on?
appreciate you want like an acoustic guitar and an electric, but like, I don't want to bring both those.
Yeah. And it's fuck you. It's way worse with keyboards. It's
I'm sure, yeah.
because my shit's like 8 times heavier all
Yeah,
the time. It's
yeah.
like, hey, can you bring your really nice digital piano and your fake like your
Yeah.
clone organ? I'm like, both of those are 60 pounds. Fuck no. I'm bringing one. You got to live with it. Make a choice now.
Yeah.
Because your gig pays $80 to $150, and I was like, nah,
Nah.
not doing it. So, carting gear is like this kind of, in my opinion, this underrated part of playing music. Underrated. Not underrated.
Y'all
like,
missing out.
no, there's like underappreciated, I guess, part of playing
You
music.
mean people don't realize how shitty it is?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
what I mean.
real.
Like it's a fucking nightmare.
always
Like
say,
how heavy is
dude-
your lightest amp that you bring to shows?
Well, if I'm doing the head and the cap on their own, they're only like 50 pounds each, but that's. I have to bring both of them, and my pedal board's like almost that heavy.
You're like little Vox amp.
Yeah,
is
that
like,
thing was like 60 pounds.
Yeah, that's 60
actually,
pounds,
the combo
yeah.
amps can be heavier because
Yeah.
it's like both in one. Ooh.
yeah, because you don't have to fucking. Oh god, we need some roadies, dude.
I always say, man, roadies over groupies any day.
Any day, man. You can find.
Not that we get either of those.
Fair enough. But yeah, let's get back on topic here. We're talking about vocalists, apparently. So, again, so far we've pretty much been all bad. Let's say, let's throw a little olive branch. It's probably harder to make dollars as a vocalist. Actually, it's not probably. It's way harder.
Yeah, very few bands are like, we need to hire a singer for like
Anything.
unless
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
like starting a band. It's not like you're like,
Yeah, there's
know.
like there have been the occasional band I'm in where they hire backup singers.
Sure.
And that's more towards the casino crowds, the covers, the all this stuff.
yeah, that's
More production oriented, but like you're not out there making indie music as a vocalist and getting, lots of money instantly.
Right.
Like I'm fortunate enough to be able to play probably the most ubiquitous and useful instrument
Yeah, probably.
as a piano keyboard player. Like, and there's just tons of work wherever I need it, wherever I go. Church people aren't getting, or vocalists aren't getting like church gigs to get paid money for, right?
Sure.
It's much.
I mean, yeah, like you can join a choir, but those don't really pay either.
No,
and-
not sometimes you have to pay for those.
Yeah, there you
unless
go.
you're sick. But like, it's harder to find roles just to come in and make money as a singer. So you have to really focus on self promotion.
Yep.
and you really have to focus on getting your brand out there. You have to record a bunch of shit that's never going to see the light of day.
Oh, dude, and like, I'm not saying they're all good at this, but it would be a pain in the ass to like always have to be the one to organize bands and musicians.
Oh,
and
it's a nightmare.
Bring
dude.
music, and it's like
From like the little I've had to do that, which is more enough to say how much of a nightmare it is. It fucking sucks. It sucks. Like, I will never forget. Like, I'm sure, like my friend Carrie's gonna listen to this and just be like, "Dude, you're fucking telling me." It's like you send an email out about a gig and you put all the details on there, right? And then you just get 400 questions about it. He's like, that are all in that email. I was like, are you serious? And that's what every vocalist has to deal with all the time with fucking, because musicians are idiots.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
We also don't care.
We also don't care. I
think it's more what it is.
Yeah, the real problem is you don't even want to spend the time as a sideman even looking at that email.
Well, it's hard too. I mean, like if someone was like, "Here's like $1,000," I'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna make this as fucking easy as I can for you because you're actually paying." But like, no like self-financed musician is gonna be able to afford that.
Yeah.
And like, nor should they. But like, it's you kind of have to live with it, I guess.
Yeah.
And at least we can take a break because like, yeah, we both do like band leading stuff. We can also just be like, yeah, I'm just in the band and everything is just dealt with for me, and I just show up and play and I don't have to worry about anything. So.
Yeah. Totally. So the pressure will never be on us 100% of the time as far as that goes. And that's super wonderful. And also, it also sucks to be a vocalist because you are the face of the group at all times. And we never really have to worry about that.
Sure. I'm sure a lot of people enjoy that, but that's still a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can be naturally drawn to that. I think vocalist personality types are probably drawn to that in general.
Divas.
Yeah, exactly. So stuff like that are naturally drawn to be like the focal point of attention. But man, like if you do it outside of your normal role, like let's say you had to like frontman a band, it's like really awkward and hard.
Just trying to picture that.
I know, it'd be fucking awesome.
I know it is very nice. I mean, like we obviously still have to perform and like put enthusiasm into it, but we mostly get to concentrate on what we're doing.
Oh, if any of you want examples of this, whenever coronavirus is over, which is never, go to your nearest jazz club and just watch someone lead a band there. Like, say it's like an instrumental quartet, right? Some asshole is going to go up in front of a mic and be like, yeah, that last song I wrote in 1996. It was about my my breakup with my wife. My dog died that year too, so I wrote that song, and it's very meaningful to me. And then they count it off, and it's like fucking bebop, right?
Did this one time, this guy got up there, he's like, this song is by some guy in Seattle.
I was 19. I was 19 years old. That was 10 years ago. Okay.
And we'll never forget it.
It'll never been forget. This was 10 years ago. I'm mad at you.
But it just goes to show how much work it is to front a band and talk to an audience.
I will say my life has improved as a front man by tenfold since then. I regularly go out and accidentally run over girls in the crowd with my guitar when I take a guitar solo as a front man. And that's a definite improvement.
Anyway, not only do you have to be the face, you also get all the attention like before or after the gig.
Yeah, you have to talk to people,
like, we
engage.
can just fuck off backstage and not worry about it.
I've never fucked off stage faster than when I was a front man, like
bad.
even twice.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's really bad because you can't engage with your audience.
It's basically all kind of dependent on you. There's always like the weird guys that want to talk to us.
Yeah,
like, King Crimson was great.
Yeah. I mean, dude, look, what model is that pedal you use?
Yeah, so that's always going to happen.
Oh, I don't think that keyboard's quite as good as mine. So yeah, vocalists, have to deal with that pretty much all the time.
And they have to like be on. Like even after the performance, they still have to be on.
Well, they're performing till they leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's all fucking show business. And it's a nightmare.
So sorry, vocalists.
Yeah, let's see where we're at here. Yeah, another way it's tough, like we were mentioning earlier, when you're beginning as a singer, you don't really have to learn theory or any of that. But if you want to later on, when you start, being really invested in music, it's a lot harder coming from a singing perspective than it is an instrumental perspective. I don't really know why that is. Probably because, vocals are monophonic and they don't...
Well, they're monophonic. There's not like a key you can press to hit a note.
Yeah.
You know, like just nothing physical to it besides just how it feels in your throat or chest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could like sing a scale, but you also don't really know what is happening when you do it, you know? You
Totally.
can't like visually sit down and go, like, oh, do.
Yeah.
Right.
So to become someone who's like more knowledgeable about how music kind of works, you have to kind of learn an instrument, honestly.
Yeah, usually piano or guitar.
Yeah, the two, that makes sense.
Or ukulele if you're really hip.
Oh my God, please end me. So like, I'm actually glad you mentioned guitar because I almost disagree. Guitar is such a shitty instrument.
Hold up. What do you mean?
Okay, so what I basically mean, this will be for another day, but like the short version is guitar is kind of illogically laid out, I think.
Only from your perspective.
Oh, okay.
In a lot of ways, it's more logical.
All right, we're going to have to make this an
If
episode.
I want to play a scale in a different key, it's the exact same fingers.
Oh.
Yeah, Jay,
that's
Mr.
tight.
12 different fucking fingerings.
There's like 4.
Whatever.
Oh, God.
It's just a different way. And I'm tired of you fucking piano privileged
Oh,
people.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, the theory was built around my instrument. No, your instrument's illogical. Hell no.
No, okay. That's another episode. Did we tell this day is going to be like a rant day? This is a rant day. That's
Very serious episode.
Yeah, so, but regardless, yes, piano or guitar, vocalists kind of have to learn it to engage with theory totally.
Yeah.
I guess you can learn it, but it just seems harder.
I mean, like, you can be like, okay, I know what makes this chord, but like,
Yeah.
what does that
Yeah.
good does that do?
It's hard to analyze like chords from monophonic instrument perspective.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of horn players that are like really bad with chords because they, have no experience in chords. It's like, gotta learn it, dude. What the
Yeah.
fuck are you giving me this chart for, dude?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. Where the fuck are we here? We have a wonderful envelope full of little shitty notes here.
A lot of preparation went into this episode.
Oh, yeah. He got here like 5 minutes. We're like, what the fuck are we talking about today? Yeah. Another thing. Yeah. Kind of continuing on this train. Vocalists aren't really as highly regarded as instrumentalists.
Right. It's generally seen as secondary to them.
Yeah. Well, again, let's preface this again. Audience-wise, no.
Well, I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
I mean, I don't know if they necessarily make that distinction, but like in the same way that we will, but I think if they go to see someone sing and they like get on the piano, they still consider them a vocalist.
Okay.
And they're kind of just accompanying themselves. I
Yeah.
don't think they're necessarily going like, oh, that great singer, guitar player, which
Right.
there are those, I think, especially in like rock.
Yeah.
That's a little more common, but I think if like a jazz singer or something like that, if they're playing piano, a lot of times it just seems like background to what they are singing.
Yeah. I mean, singing and playing is quite difficult. I'm not gonna
It
lie.
is, yeah. I'm not. Like, I'm just saying. I think it's like regarded as like a secondary thing. I don't think they're. You don't usually have people walking out of a show like that and being like, "Wow, they were really great at piano."
Yeah, I guess that's true, and mostly because they're not.
Well, yeah. I think of someone like Diana Krall, who like, I know it's just kind of like jazz. But she's good at singing and good at piano.
Yeah,
and she like
she's a good
actually will
piano.
have like whole instrumental sections.
Yeah,
and,
and
like,
she
interact
can
with the
like
band.
she can improvise.
Yeah,
she can
yeah.
communicate with the band. She can play.
I still think most people
I think
consider
it's
her a singer, though.
No, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
She's 100% a singer in the consciousness of America, and which is a bit of a shame because she's not bad. I don't really enjoy her playing that much, but like that doesn't mean she's not good.
No, I should kind of like her.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, so in general, vocalists is like kind of being maybe judged a little harsher than
I mean,
instrumentals.
this is, I guess, probably just totally my bias. But
here we
if I'm
go.
ever at a show, I'm watching and the singer's singing, and then they go to pick up a guitar for a song.
How much fear?
Oh,
what does your
boy,
heart rate get up
oh,
to? My heart rate gets up to 200 BPM.
It goes high.
Yeah, that's a bad one. There are a lot of situations, like anytime like a novelty instrument comes on stage when vocals are related, I'm just like, once saw this vocalist grab a harmonium, and I'm like, no. And then she proceeded to just do nothing on it for like a million years and then just keep singing. And I was like, come on.
Yeah.
So
That shit
there's a
will
lot of
happen
that.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of stuff, man. Yes, it's hard to be a vocalist, but like when you're trying that hard, when you grab a harmonium that adds nothing.
Yeah, I wonder about these things. I think we're going to slowly creep into the ranty mean territory here.
That's right. Yep.
But I think, vocalists, like we said, sort of have that kind of narcissistic trait a lot of times.
Well,
And
yeah, it's the
it's part of
personality
it.
type.
Yeah. And I think that really goes into it because they're like, it's not enough that I'm like singing in front of this band. I gotta like get some weird ass instrument on stage to be like, look what else I can do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you don't have to do that.
I know. If you're, and I'm a cynical person in general, but I still hold the belief that if your music is super fucking awesome, like it will get recognized somehow.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're a singer and you make super badass fucking music in some way, it will probably get recognized without you needing to grab the harmonium. And you can usually find yourself, if you're like in that kind of train of mind where you're just trying to figure out what you can do to kind of add more to your music, and you're starting to grab like a coda or
no. No.
Yep, seen it, been there, I've seen it. So stuff like that.
I think of like Led Zeppelin. Like there's a band where like each member was considered a very good musician, and like Robert Plant especially, like obviously just killer rock vocalist, but just like he's like very talented and skilled, and everyone recognizes how good of a singer he is. And like he didn't need to take out anything. I mean, he did play harmonica a little, but that was like on the super bluesy songs.
Yeah,
and, it was just
and
sort of,
honestly,
like,
he was good enough at harmonica.
he was, and that's It's
I
like,
won't say he's like fucking amazing.
but it's harmonica. It's like who cares?
What can you do?
Yeah.
And if I ever hear a fucking chromatic harmonica again, I'm gonna shoot myself. So that's what's that guy's name? Toots McSomething.
Oh, the one that's on the Jocko
shit.
stuff.
Yeah. So like shit like that. But like Robert Plant is good enough at harmonica. I mean, just to make the sound that he wanted.
I think so. It really worked because, like, again, he used it very sparingly. Couple blues songs, and it like, okay, yeah, sounds like blues.
It's better than when Alanis Morissette plays harmonica.
She does that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
She also plays flute on the track or
I
two.
remember that. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So and like the thing is, Alanis Morissette is good enough as a singer.
Oh yeah.
She was already famous by the time she was doing that shit. It's like, why did you do that? Probably because she's really weird.
She is weird, but maybe it is also just getting like, I mean, I get it. Like you're bored, or
maybe she's bored. Yeah.
It's like, but I don't know. Why do we have to suffer?
Yeah, she's projecting her suffering onto us. Oh God. So yeah, if you ever find yourself down the train of you need more stuff and not better music, you're in a danger zone. Yeah. You're in the danger zone. Let's move on to communication and chemistry. So far this episode, we've actually been mostly talking about how hard it is to be a vocalist.
Yeah, so you can't give us shit.
Yeah, except you totally can, because we're about to just...
Yeah, vocalist, you can skip ahead to the end now.
This has been Music Since I Want to Die. Thank you, vocalists, for listening. So we're going to talk about, like, communication and chemistry in a musicianship setting, in a band setting, in a stage setting, live, rehearsal, whatever.
Vocalists, please learn how to talk.
Yes, man.
Please just do it.
I have spent so much time. I swear, like, one of the reasons I get so much work, like, as a pianist is because I am, like, a weird, like, translator.
The vocalist whisperer.
I'm the vocalist whisperer. I'm so good. This is just me bragging now. I'm so good at figuring out what they want from, like, no clues. I don't know what it is, but I'm just like locked into that mindset, and I just can suggest what they mean and like kind of get it rolling faster than other people can sometimes. I don't want that skill. I don't want to have to do that.
A wise man once said, be careful what you get good at.
Exactly. Very wise saying, and I'm good at that, and I have to do it a lot, man. It's really weird.
Is that like a class? Because it should exist, like how to talk to a band. For vocalists. Like,
that should be a class.
That really should. I mean, like, I know, I'm not saying, like, as an instrumentalist, you're automatically good at communicating with the band. But once you get to a certain point, you all have sort of a common language that you're speaking.
Yes.
And vocalists somehow miss that lesson. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's, like, intertwined with, like, music theory, because it's not. But, like, when vocalists don't know, like, how to communicate form or communicate, like, structure or anything like that, that's like the first step, is you have to be able to tell you where you are in the song. So let's say you're playing like a jazz standard. The form is AABA, and a vocalist says, okay, now you take a solo, and you take 1A of solo, and then they come in at B. I cannot tell you how many times this has happened to me in like the last year, and I haven't even played shows for 4 months.
You know what? It's true, and like what we were talking about earlier, it's like, yeah, you're saying it doesn't really have to do with theory. I mean, this is just counting.
Yeah, exactly. It's counting. But the problem is counting is also based in theory. And when you don't engage like that.
Yeah, I guess, but it's such a basic. Like, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, if you were to sing a song, you don't necessarily need to be able to count it.
Right.
But, like, if you're around a music enough, you think that would be just, I mean, it's
natural,
not,
yeah.
It's
like, you should know where the B is.
It's a fucking jazz tune. It's not like we're doing some weird time signature, crazy shit or anything. It's like just 16 measures.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Exactly. So things like that to me are the most frustrating. Or like when they try to communicate is like, let's start at this spot. These are the lyrics at that spot.
Oh my God. If I... that means nothing to me. It'll always be like in the middle of a measure too.
Exactly. It's like, dude, you're talking about like the pickup to the next bar. That's not even the start of that spot. I can't deal with that when they're like, here's the lyrics I start at. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have those.
And I run into this opposite problem too when I'm like, let's take it at like the beginning of the bridge or like after the solo or something.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, where's that?
Woo.
Yeah. Like, how do you not know?
Oh, actually, I did that a few times. And the same thing happened, the same person every time. I would be like, okay, let's, that was okay. Let's start at the bridge. And then I count it off, right? And then, starts right at the top. Every single time, no matter what. And then we had to go through the other 2 minutes of song just to get to the bridge to rehearse. And then they fuck it up again. Okay, let's start at these lyrics. And then we start at those lyrics, but she does the melody at the top over those lyrics.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I've seen it.
What?
I've seen it.
You've seen things, man.
I have seen it all.
You should write a book, bro. At this point,
maybe. I've seen
Confessions of an Accompanist.
I might write that book. I have seen everything. I have seen people give me a chart with a title on it that's the wrong title. It's like,
I think. I mean, this might not be true.
I've seen a 15-page chart for me and Bobby McGee. I've seen it. I've seen it. That's like a 2-minute long country song. All right, what are you gonna say?
I just would like to say the funny thing about that was the whole story behind that is we get this chart originally.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, what, like 2 pages or something?
Yeah.
Like the first one she gave us for the rehearsal, right?
Yeah.
It's like 2 pages because it's me and Bobby McGee. Doesn't need more than that, but
Yeah.
she didn't have the key change in there or something, right?
Yeah.
And so we didn't do the key change, and of course she was all like, "What the fuck, guys? You messed up."
Yeah.
What? That's not right. And we're like, "What?
My bad."
What?
Yeah, you gave
and
us.
then finally we were like, "Oh, you want a key change that you didn't write down or talk about?"
And
at
that
all.
was like after a couple minutes
Oh, yeah.
of trying to translate in my head.
Yeah, like it's like I think we played it right. I mean, as far as this chart says, so it's like
Yeah.
okay, you want a key change. So literally all we had to do was like, okay, on this repeat,
Yeah,
go
we
up
could,
a whole step.
We
or
could have
whatever.
communicated it like in real time.
Right, and so that's what we did. Like, so then we like, okay, make a little note on the sheet, done. And then for the gig, she walks up, she's like, oh, I redid the chart for the key change. We're like, okay, fine, that's great.
Yeah.
12 pages. It was 12 pages.
By the way, translation from I fixed up the chart is I bought it off sheetmusicplus.com, which is the biggest shithole fucking charts in the world. And I don't know how many times I've ended up with 19-page charts of the simplest bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
I think this kind of comes down to, I mean, this probably applies to all instrumentalists, but like, I just noticed a lot more vocalists, like, depending on what you want to do, you need that much education.
Yes.
Like, if you want to just front an indie band and sing folk songs, you
Sure.
probably don't need to know where the bridge is or anything like
Yeah.
that. Or you might even know what it is because it's a little, or like,
more-
you're coming from that perspective.
Yeah, a little
but
more
like,
obvious, yeah.
But yeah, if you're bringing charts to people or you're doing a jazz thing, it's like, you need to know these things.
That's a really good point. Like, why are you bringing us charts if you don't know what's on them? Like, you're subjecting yourself to a lot of like potential problems.
Yes. I mean, I've worked with like very good vocalists who would like have charts and like, they made them or made them with someone else. I don't know, but like, they're correct and they know what's happening.
Exactly.
Like,
and they, maybe if you're lucky, they can point out where you are on the chart.
yes.
Dude, I went through like a really bad stretch a couple years ago, like 6 months of like horrendous vocalist gigs and like all these horrendous charts and a lot of extra work for me. And then I played this one gig with a vocalist and we were just doing a brief rehearsal beforehand. And she said, "Oh, can we take it from the Senyo, please?" And I was like,
What?
And I was like, yes, we can. And then still in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh,
She doesn't mean it.
she doesn't fucking mean it. There's no way. And then she counts it off in good tempo. And then she starts singing at the Senyo and everything makes sense. And I was like, oh, this is what it's like. This is what music is like.
There are very good vocalists out there.
There are very good vocalists, and like I don't even know if she was like a good vocalist. I didn't even really care at that point.
I mean,
she sounded good. Yeah, she was good.
I think that's like it should be considered part of it. Because like we're kind of judging that shit. Like if you showed up to a rehearsal and they were like, take from here, and like, oh, what? Yeah. Like you'd be fucking fired.
Yeah,
there's no fucking way.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like if vocalist ever said to a bass player like, oh, let's take it from the bridge, and the bass player's like, where's the bridge? Is it at these lyrics? The vocalist would the vocalist would fire you. Maybe, and they deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess it's because, like we said earlier, like because vocalists aren't really getting hired for things, since it's all on them. The level to get gigs is pretty low because it's just like, oh, I just have to send off my press package, do a demo,
and then
hire some poor asshole like you,
like to come in and like kind of fix what they're. And that's the thing. Like, it's a really good point. So when you're engaging with music in that specific way, you aren't around enough musicians a lot of the time to really learn the vocabulary in that way.
Yeah.
And you really have to sell, and like resources on the internet, a lot of people like to say that it's easier than ever to teach yourself music. I think the ubiquitousness of resources on the internet makes it harder, because oftentimes you're going to come across a video, or let's say you're looking up a form tutorial on YouTube, right? Oftentimes this will be coming from a person who doesn't do it enough. So then you're taught wrong, but then your convictions are stronger. Mm-hmm. So it's harder. It's like harder. You just have to hang out with musicians. That's what it comes down to. You have to learn to speak the language that you're approaching people with.
I was just thinking, and like this, when we were in college, and like we'd have like, every semester you took an ensemble class. Mm-hmm. And so like,
and it's different every time.
It's different every time, but we were like, okay, here's the room, and each one time it's like a different group of people. And so it's like, you have to sort of learn to speak with each other. And as you continue, everyone gets a little more like with that language. And for whatever reason, they didn't usually let vocalists do that. Like, I know it happened.
It happened. Yeah, you're right. But it was mostly instrumental. That's partially because we were studying jazz.
True.
In that sense.
I mean, I'm glad we didn't have to have vocalists in every ensemble, honestly, because sometimes vocal jazz makes me want to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, there was a couple times, like when we were on Randy's group, and Natasha was singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That totally worked.
And that was fucking great.
Yeah.
And, like, she could hang and, like, talk and everything.
That's because she tried, man.
Yeah, but, like, I'm just wondering, it's like, okay, why aren't, like, the vocalists would have, like, their jazz choir or whatever? Why weren't they in more groups? So, like, why didn't they have a class that was a little more, like...
And we're just talking about strictly about people going to college.
Yeah.
So, on that level, like, I mean, we're never going to sit here and say Cornish is the fucking greatest school of all time. We have our big... That should be an episode, dude.
Oh, God.
That's a good fucking idea.
They're probably closing down anyway, fuck it.
Yeah. So, like, Cornish is, like, not a fantastic school. And the fact they don't let vocalists join ensembles, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I mean, it happens, but it's just not, like, required or involved.
Yeah, it's not even encouraged.
I mean, I know they had, like, for their, like, lunchtime performances or whatever, they would have, like, a trio behind them. And, like, that was part of it was, like, okay, you have to get your chart ready and stuff. But, like... That's still not really you interacting with the group.
Exactly. That's you doing the eventual buying stuff from Sheet Music Plus.
That's what they're teaching them.
Kind of. It's just like a little removed. Only like 1 or 2 degrees removed from that.
Oh, geez, it all makes sense now.
But like, if you're not coming from college, it's like obviously it's even harder because like you really have to force yourself into being exposed to the music language.
Yeah.
And the music language isn't like, the circle of fifths, or it's not like these theoretical concepts. It's like structure, form, and like terminology to get people to do what you want faster.
Yeah.
Like, if a vocalist never said anything to me about like the circle of fifths or anything, I would be happy. I don't care.
There's no reason.
That's
for
not
that.
The point of what
like you and I wouldn't talk about that in rehearsal.
No, never ever. What's something that we would talk about in rehearsal?
We could maybe be like, how are you voicing this chord? Or like, what are you adding on that?
I don't need to hear that from a vocalist.
No.
Like, all I need from them is structure, really, actually, when it comes down to it. Structure and, like, the key they're singing in, please. I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, so, like, all I need from them is, like, structure and language that makes sense. And I don't even need, like, the terms I'm the most familiar with.
As long as you can communicate it.
As long as you can communicate it. And I've heard a lot of different ways to communicate things. And as long as they're consistent and make sense, it's fine. And I get it. Music's hard. Like, there's a lot of times where, like, this thing's, like, really actually a pre-chorus, even though it's part of the verse in their mind. And I get it. That can be hard. But like, I honestly think if you listen to music enough and hang out with musicians and do all this stuff, that you're eventually going to learn this language. So you just have to put in the time.
I think so. And like, okay, like you said, eventually we're going to have like a vocalist on here to redo this one.
Yeah, we're going to redo it and get a balanced perspective, and the vocalist will be really awesome, and it's going to be great.
Well, I know like really good vocalists do this, but like I wonder on like more amateur or learning level, or when they're younger even, like, you know, listening to songs, it's like, are they just kind of focusing in on the singing? Are they listening to like the forms and the instrumentation and things like that? I don't.
You know, they're just listening to the vocals.
Well,
a lot of the time.
Yeah, and that's what I wonder. I would like to know from someone who actually like knows about these things. But you know, for us, we listen to all sorts of shit.
Yeah, we listen.
It's not like I'm just like guitar. Like I love listening to guitar, but I don't do it all the time.
Yeah. So this is. I had a train of thought, and it is fucking gone.
Wrecked.
Left the station, it derailed, and it crashed into 200 vocalists. So yeah, let's talk about kind of along the same lines, chemistry issues or chemistry non-issues.
Well, I think this is where it will show if you listen to the band when you listen to music, or if you just listen to yourself.
Yeah,
like this is a good.
This is where it'll start. So when you're in a band as a vocalist, you sometimes have to rehearse with this band. And
as much as the band doesn't want to do it.
And that's funny you mentioned that. That is, in my perspective, comes from having so many shitty experiences. Not because I'm lazy, not because I don't want to do it, not because I don't believe in their music, although that's all probably also true. It's just because I've had so many, countless, probably thousands at this point, of horrible experiences with vocalists not knowing anything, the basics. So like, I'm already in this mindset, which is bad, I guess. It's like a defense. It's a defense mechanism. So we come into a rehearsal. I'm already like, they need to prove something. You know what I mean? Which is really bad, and it's also probably like a little sexist. I don't know. Most vocalists are women, and I don't know what the deal is with that.
I mean. But like also like I feel like we have the same thing with male vocalists too. Like if you come into it, there's just not as many.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably true too. Yeah, there's a lot of male I've worked with a lot of male vocalists who've also made me want to die.
Exactly.
So therefore, I'm not sexist. Is that how that works? Maybe. So anyway, interacting with a band can be hard. Musicians, I'm going to say this again. Musicians are also stupid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, musicians are fucking dumb, dude. And I'm not excluding myself from this.
No one was.
No, yeah, exactly. So just before anyone thinks that I'm like some super fucking genius, I'm also an idiot. I promise. When you're a vocalist interacting with a band, you have to be really attentive to the chemistry and the kind of thing the energy you're putting out into this band. Because what's going to happen is whatever energy you put out and whatever communicative skills you have are going to be amplified times 10. So, for instance, you and I have played with a vocalist who does a lot of like soul covers and stuff like that. And honestly, it's a pretty awesome experience because he can communicate.
Yeah.
And he like leads the band in like a unique way because he's not like a knowledgeable like musical theorist or whatever.
And I don't think it's like, I mean, it's unique in the sense that no one else around here does that. But I think, you know, that comes from just this history of all these great soul vocalists who, you know, back in the day, if you listen to like a Marvin Gaye live thing, he's totally up there leading the band.
Yeah, and he is doing it very competently in ways that make sense.
Yes, and it's integrating into the song. Like he'll be vamping, and he'll be like, "Guitar, take it there," you know.
And then he'll be like, "Oh, good solo, break it down on the one."
Bam. Yeah. It's like everyone's like, "Yes, I know what that means."
Can I get 2 hits? Bow, bow.
Yep, exactly.
And it's shit like that is super wonderful, and there's a lot of history there to kind of draw from.
Yes,
in terms of that, but like. But kind of my point is it amplifies the experience of me playing with him in a really good way. Like, it makes me want to gig with him, which is somewhat rare for me with vocalists. Like
rare for me for most music, I would say.
Yeah, for most music in general. But like, it's like a positive experience, and like you know that there could be something new happening at this show, and oftentimes there is. And it's not going to turn into a train wreck because he's trying something he's never, you know.
And even if it does, it's still like that's kind of part of music because like we'll do that too. We'll just like be jamming, and then all of a sudden be like, let's mix it up a little, and it's like might suck.
And sometimes
or
it's
might
a
be
disaster.
Yeah, but like,
and also from his perspective, he's a very positive guy, and you know that when you kind of go for these riskier stuff, like he'll be there with you.
Yeah,
he's part of
exactly,
this ensemble.
exactly.
He's not the person in front, and with you guys behind. He's a part of this band.
oh, I've noticed that so much too with like some vocalists where there's such that divide where it's like singer and then here's the rest of us.
Yes.
And like the whole time we're playing, you know, they'll be up there just doing their thing. And you'll be at the back of the band's all just like, kind of looking at each other. And
Yeah,
like,
we're trying to like salvage the sinking ship, or like,
not,
yeah.
or even if it's like fine, like everything's fine, it's just still sort of like,
It's just-
okay, this is where the music's actually happening.
Right.
The sing, like, okay, the singing's happening, and then, oh, here's like this little instrumental section, and we can kind of like, but like, you're not included in it. And there, I've definitely worked with like, a fair share of vocalists who can do that and come together. But most of the time, if I'm doing these sort of like singer-songwriter gigs, it's sort of like you sing, and then we're kind of the background thing.
Yeah,
and,
we're the wallpaper. We're the like the icing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's more annoying. So I guess if I were to give advice for a vocalist, try to integrate yourself into the musicianship as much as possible.
and you don't have to play harmonium to do that.
No, you do not, and it is recommended you don't for a very long time. So that's I think a simple way to kind of put this, to have us enjoy it as like professional musicians. Try to incorporate yourself into our language as much as possible, and I think by extension we'll probably try and reach out to you as well.
And that's the thing, you know, it'll still be your show. I mean, we're just like the hired guns or whatever.
Yeah.
Like people are still there to see you. And it's like, that's what they care about is like your performance and everything. But it will make the performance so much better if you just kind of like throw us a little bit of a bone here.
Totally. And again, like you just said, I'm okay with the vocalist getting all the attention and getting all the, you know, the front man stuff that comes with it. You know, as long as they like bring us in as part of this band, and we're not just the wallpaper. We're not like the fucking tea cozies.
Yeah, well,
or whatever.
It makes you not enjoyable to work with, and makes me not want to put as much effort in.
Yeah,
and, like,
and it represents itself in a lot of ways. And I think the way we've been approaching it so far is like, you know, just kind of a language perspective in terms of like music communication. But it can also come from being a giant fucking asshole. Sometimes singers can be giant fucking assholes.
Yeah, sorry that you don't know how to like communicate, but it's not my fault.
Exactly. But the problem is the gap between your languages is so gone that they can't even see it, and you kind of can't either.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
But the difference is you're playing music, and that's kind of the language you've been speaking for a million years, and they're coming in probably a little fresher, a little greener, and then they're trying super hard to just be like their own personality.
Yeah.
And
it's like, ugh.
And you've probably been in this situation on stage where you fucking hate playing what you're playing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of the time that comes down to you don't respect the music coming from the vocalist.
Mm-hmm. I'd say so.
So I don't know.
I mean, I can have a good time with music I don't really like.
Yeah.
If the chemistry is there. Like,
sometimes I don't really like playing soul covers that much.
Nah, you know, they're fun, but like...
Yeah, like I've played that fucking... I don't even remember the name of that song. It's like, My Prerogative.
Sure, yeah.
I've played My Prerogative like 9,000 times. But I still can have fun just being part of the music ensemble.
Exactly.
I can kind of create my own fun. Mm-hmm. So, let's just recap. Vocalists, if you want to be more successful in the chemistry with your band, because I'm sure you've all noticed, like, musicians can be a little, I don't want to say, like, irate, but, like, just a little prickly, I guess. It can be hard to tell what will set them off in a particular way. And it's just because they have so many learned experiences from working with singers that are just disasters and all this stuff. So just try your hardest to incorporate their language into your communication as much as possible. I promise that work will be rewarded 10 times over minimum.
I would say so.
Yeah. So to all the vocalists that do all that, good for you. I can think of quite a few. So shout outs to all
we're
you.
not talking about you when we say the bad things.
Yes, that's right. And I'm pretty sure...
Honestly, kind of. It's not like we work with those musicians after, like...
Well, then again, we're not working with fucking anyone because it's goddamn coronavirus.
Yeah.
So again, this all applies to when we're actually like playing shows. So there's that. But I think that pretty much
I
does
think
it.
we got it out. Again, keep an eye out for part 2 at some point.
Yes. So to recap, we're going to have a vocalist on here that is probably a good example of what we're talking about.
That's someone who's good.
Yeah, someone who's good, but also can give us more of a balanced perspective, and hopefully can tell about the frustrations
I don't
he
know
or
what
she
y'all
has.
go through. I know you have to like drink tea before you sing. That sucks. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, shit like that, and also, you know, maybe there is some like we have huge biases, whether it's like latent sexism or like whatever. I hope he or she comes in and like helps us explain, because I'm sure our biases are very strong at this point. And reaching out was a good reaching out will be a good thing. Keep an eye out. Hopefully that won't be too long. I think we should do that kind of soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
As always, like and subscribe.
Absolutely. We have YouTube now. Follow us or subscribe to us on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. We post a bunch of music to listen to each week. What we're talking about in a little bit here will be posted on Facebook. And then all the podcast shit, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn. We're on all that. Just fucking listen to us and share it with your friends because we're fucking funny. Got it? Got any rants for us? Got any rants for us? Motherfucker!
It's like a personal rant. So I did a live stream thing yesterday with Barax.
Yeah.
It was pretty good, but we hadn't practiced in like a month maybe because it's quarantine and everything like that. And like, man, I'm so rusty. It was rough.
It goes away, dude.
It definitely goes away.
goes
I mean,
away.
like I've been like still like teaching and playing, but just like
It's not the same.
it's not just being with like a band again. It's just been like, oh my god.
I feel that, dude. I played a wedding gig, got a socially distanced wedding gig like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And it came back because it was a 4-hour gig and plenty of time.
Yeah.
But at first I was just like, whoa, what the fuck is happening? I just fucked up.
Yeah.
Like my fingers are just like, and I've been actually, during quarantine, I've been kind of like practicing more than I usually do.
So different.
But like,
life,
it's just so different live, yeah. And like kind of keeping on top of communication. Because communication like during a song happens in really weird ways. Like little...
Yes.
Like, that's kind of an interesting episode too. But like, it happens in really interesting ways that maybe if you're out of practice, like you can't pick up quite as fast and you're just like more stressed out, your heart rate's higher and you're more prone to make mistakes when you're not calm.
Yep.
So if you're like just feeling a little slow, it can really compound fast. And I was really feeling it that day.
Yeah. It's rough. But
It's whack.
How about you?
Mine's a little baby rant. It's like during the coronavirus times, a lot of emphasis placed on online interactions. And I just kind of want to say that doing this kind of like pre-recording and like sharing files and all this stuff is really inefficient in comparison to doing it in person. It's just really sad.
Oh, you're talking about like if you're like in a band or something and you're sort of like...
and you're sharing tracks with each other, one instrument at a time. And like, say like you have a thing where you have to get like the bass tracks, the drum tracks, the singer tracks, all the keys tracks, and you have to do it individually and then recompile them and then do retakes if they're bad. It takes an eternity, and like you can't... like not being able to diagnose it in real time is really hard for me because I'm an extremely impatient person, and B, it is like just a horrible process, but like it's all we have.
It is. I mean, I get it. Like, I know that happens a lot where they'll be like, you know, in real music, and they'll be like, oh, we want this guy on guitar, and he's like in the other part of the country, so they'll like send him the track, and they'll just do a couple takes of a solo or something.
Sure.
That's usually okay if you're just kind of doing that. But yeah, to like sort of like build the whole song up like that.
It's hard, and that's kind of what we're dealing with, and that represents itself in other ways. Like people really tried to have rehearsals with a quote unquote low latency program called Jam Kazam. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
It's basically they've knocked down via technology like buffer sizing and like rollbacks, things like that. They've knocked down the latency to like, I want to say if you're in the same city, 20 milliseconds, maybe 15.
I mean, yeah. But
it's still horrendous.
Well, it's just different. Like,
you can't groove at that tempo or at that latency.
And also, you're just not in the room with everyone, and you can't hear it like
you can't hear it the same. And like,
honestly, like I appreciate people trying all this stuff, and that's good. And I know people are dying to do something, but like, is it worth it after a certain point? Like, can you just? I mean, who knows when this shit's gonna end? But like, can you just wait it out?
Can we like not even wait it out? Can we slow down?
Slow down, sure.
Slow down and really assess what we can do in this new context.
Yeah.
So I get frustrated with just how much longer the process takes and everything. Yeah, that's pretty much my rant.
Fair enough.
What do you got for listening?
I have to look up something real quick on mine because I forgot who plays.
How about I start then?
Yeah, I think you should.
So the past few days I've been really
Hang on, I'm putting Wikipedia.
Okay,
Give me a second.
sorry, hold on.
I can't.
Anyway, I've been listening to a bunch of orchestral music. I've been kind of like binging it, just kind of going through my old favorites, you know. And I found this super dope ass recording of one of my favorite orchestral pieces, which is Debussy's Second Nocturne, and for orchestra, and it's really dope. This particular recording does a really great thing at the climax. I love where it's kind of like the climax is kind of a combination of the two giant sections of the piece, and a lot of recordings don't have the first section loud enough, you know, where it contrasts super fucking hard over the new theme. And this one, I think it's the Berlin Philharmonic in like 2018 or something really recent. They like the fucking violins are slamming the shit out of the first theme over the trumpet fanfare, and it turned out it's a really good recording. So I'm gonna make you guys listen to that shit.
I'm sure they will all listen to that.
Yeah.
They're much more likely to listen to my free jazz album that I've been into.
What do you got?
I am listening to the Dave Holland Quartet.
Oh, yeah.
Conference of the Birds.
Oh my god, so many bird shit on this.
I literally thought about that as as I was picking the song. I was like, oh yeah, fuck. Actually, the song that we're gonna play is one of those bird mimicking songs because everyone's really creative.
Yeah,
but it's pretty cool. But yeah, really cool. It's like it's that ECM sound, I guess. Just like it's like free jazz, but it's not just like the kind of thing. More composed.
It has a core.
Yeah,
it has a theme, perhaps. Yeah, ECM is probably my favorite free jazz.
And yes, I had to look up the personnel because I forgot to do that beforehand.
Gotcha.
But fucking killer. So Dave Holland on bass, obviously. Then you have Sam Rivers and Anthony Braxton on horns. And Barry Altschul, I'm going to fuck that name up.
Okay.
He played with like Chick Corea and Paul play and everything on percussion. And he does a lot of, it's like drums, but also a lot of weird like
sounds
kind of shit.
Cool.
So, very cool album from like 73, I think.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us and listening to this entire episode about vocalists and how much they suck.
Please direct all hate mail to Jake's email.
Fantastic.
That's jake.seeley@gmail.com.
Fantastic.
Jake.seeley@gmail.com.
This is getting censored.
SELE.
Getting censored so hard later. Thanks everyone for listening. My name's Jake.
I'm Matt.
And this has been Music Sucks and I Want to Die. Follow, like, subscribe, do all that shit. Bye.